exciting recipe to share with you today. And what I've got in front of me is a beautiful whitetail backstrap, or loin. Just before we get into tonight's show, I want to do some introductions. My name is Jonathan Collins. I'm a professional chef. And these two fine-looking young men, it's my oldest son, Dakota, and my youngest son, Bailey.
How's it going? Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
So, little note about the recipes. We've had 2 exciting weeks showing wild turkey recipes. So we did, first of all, we did the cast iron wild turkey cottage pie. So it's a cottage pie, which is a lot like the shepherd's pie, topped with beautiful potatoes. So Bailey's a bit of an understudy, and what's beautiful about this is Surefire Wednesdays are all about you. They're all about the guests, your guests in our home, and we want to teach you anything you need to learn. Now, the one thing that occurred to me today was that maybe some of you might be watching and thinking, I don't want to ask a question. I was that kid in class always where I didn't want to ask the wrong question. This is not that time.
No.
There are no stupid questions.
No.
I can tell you right now that before I became a chef, everything I learned kind of was the opposite. So we want to hear from you. This is all about teaching you how to enjoy your wild game recipes like you never had before.
So last week we did wild turkey and dumplings, which was like off the hook, man. It was sick. We took the legs out to the barbecue and we smoked them for about an hour at like 225.
225.
225, and then we finished cooking them, brought them in, made a stock. You got to check that live out. It was literally one of the best dishes I've ever tasted.
Dumpling recipes, trust me, you can adopt this one. You can just wipe out the outdoor chef. You can adopt it, make it your own, and pass it off as your own. I'll guarantee you these dumplings, they'll make you a huge hit.
And to that note, if you guys go back and check out our 2 other lives this week, the great thing about these videos is you can pause and play after the video is done. So if you're sitting there in the kitchen, pause, play, and cook along with us as we go.
And all of these recipes, including the one tonight, will be available on the Outdoor Chef, Fearless Outdoors, and Bowtech's website as well.
So Bowtech's website, they have this beautiful, it's such a great spot. It's a spot for foodies. So it's Bowtech, let's eat. It's everything you ever wanted to eat in terms of recipes. So check that out. But let's get into this incredible whitetail. So you see we've got a little bit of a touchstone here to remind us of our brilliant hunt. Now this beautiful whitetail was taken with the Bowtech Range 7. So it was an amazing experience. And one of the things as a professional chef I love is the opportunity to take and harvest the animal and to be able to break it down, understanding where all these parts come from. So let's touch first of all on where the backstrap or the loin is located. We have a little graphic for you here. Just have a quick look at this. So you can see there that the loin is right at the top. It's why it's called the backstrap. It's right on the top or the back of the deer, and there's 2 of them, one on either side of the spine. Now when you're butchering the deer, it's really easy to remove because you just let your knife do the work. You can literally follow along the bone, freeing it up, and it's really simple to prepare. But what you can see here, and in a minute I'm going to have Dakota grab the camera, it's got silver skin. So that's that layer of connective tissue that separates the muscles, and it will not break down.
And I mean, this is obviously our first year hunting whitetail. The first my deer that I field dressed, I found it so incredible that in between each muscle was this layer of silver skin and connective tissue that separates all the muscles. It blew my mind.
So it's like a guide when you're butchering. And if you've never hunted whitetail before, let me tell you, it is an experience like nothing else. I can tell you, it changed me forever. This guy that I harvested, I shot, he ended up in the river. It's an amazing story because we ended up, it was winter and it was cold and we were pulling this old boy out just about waist height in cold rushing water.
We were dodging chunks of ice as we're trying to drag this deer up the bend.
And I guess all the old guys we talked to afterwards, our spot was about 40 yards from a river, so I guess all the old guys told us, oh yeah, well don't you know, deer always run for the water.
So if you don't know, we're new hunters. So you might say, well, why are we watching you? Well, this is like the making of a hunter. So as chefs, we're always cooking and teaching and showing people how to do things. But an important step we missed was harvesting the animals.
Yeah.
So our enthusiasm is going to be a little over the top, but it reminds me of a show that's coming up after ours tonight. So Randy Newberg, a guy we've been watching for a long time. This guy is an elk expert.
Yeah. He's public land hunting advocate, you know, which we're really excited about because we're doing a public land elk hunt. In the beginning of September. So.
And public lands, both here in Canada and the United States, they're part of our heritage. They're part of our right. They're called, it's public land for a reason. It belongs to you and it belongs to us.
Yeah.
And as hunters and anglers, we're stewards of that. So we got to take care of it. And a big part of taking care of it is cooking some food.
Yep.
So why don't we get down to it? I'm going to start by showing you how to remove the silver skin, and we'll get right into this recipe. So the first thing that you want to do is make sure that you've got a good sharp knife. And while we're cooking this a little later, I want you to go grab your sharpening steel, if you've got one, a sharpening steel, and maybe a dull knife. And when we come back from cooking this, in maybe about 30 minutes, I'm going to show you how to sharpen and how to hone your knife. But let's get into this. So this is that layer of silver skin. You can see it's sinew. First Nations would actually use this layer for a lot. It's very strong, it has huge tensile strength, and the First Nations would use this for literally sewing boots, mucklucks, and putting together vests. I've seen all kinds of applications. So in other words, this is not what you want to eat. So what you do is just literally take your knife and in pieces, slide it up underneath. You can see the blade underneath. Pull up with a little bit of tension, and look at how you can just simply slide that off. Now the key is you want to make sure to take off as little of the flesh as possible. This is good, this is not good. So literally by pulling up and running it down, I can literally remove all of that silver skin. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to continue to work my way across this are you looking at the color, boys? Yes. So now let's talk about how we treated this. This was in the freezer, Bailey.
Yeah, it was in the freezer, and we got back after harvesting this deer in the middle of the night. It only took us about an hour to completely break it down, get it in the freezer. But it's been in the freezer for almost a year now. A little under a year, but we just brought it out of the freezer and de-thawed it in cold water. We said it last week, but it's always important to de-thaw food in cold water. Otherwise, if you de-thaw it in warm water, the outside of the meat actually de-thaws before the center and actually starts to cook. And then while the inside is thawing out, that outside is kept at unsafe food temperature. So it's always important to thaw it out in ice cold water.
Yeah, keep in mind, you have to keep it below 4 degrees Celsius. And somebody get me, what is that in Fahrenheit, 4 degrees Celsius?
We're Canadian, we don't know.
Yeah, so we're just trimming this bad boy up a little bit here. And you can see, now, let's have a quick look at this flesh here, Code. So you can see that beautiful flesh. And now while I have you up close and tight, I'm going to butterfly this. And the reason I'm going to butterfly it is we want to stuff this. Now, let's be honest. Let's look at this. This backstrap needs no help at all. When you harvest this, you want to talk about non-GMO, you want to talk about organic and the perfect kind of meat. I've had the most fabulous meats in the entire world, and this is unreal. You will never have anything better than what you're looking at right here. Yes, we got what?
It's 40 degrees Fahrenheit.
40 degrees Fahrenheit. So you got to keep it so it's 4 degrees Celsius or below 40 degrees. So it's pretty cold. You got to keep it cold in order for it to be food safe. So let's get uptight here, Code, and let's show this butterflying. Now this is a really important technique. So first of all, you want to make sure that your knife is sharp, and you want to make sure that that is nice and flat. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take and hold it. Notice my hand is kind of concave so that I can keep my fingers out of the way. I'm literally going to do this, and I have control. Now, at this point, if I by chance slip, I'm not going to cut myself, or I'm not going to make a poor cut into this beautiful backstrap either. See the way that comes right out the center? And now this is what yeah, go ahead, buddy.
Is there a reason why you're cutting it this way and not this way?
Yeah, well, no, that's perfect. So if I cut it this way, then it's going to give me a whole lot less space to stuff. And I want to really stuff this guy. So just
what are we stuffing them with?
So we're going to do some mushrooms, some fresh thyme, a little bit of spinach. And let's see what we got here. So, oh my gosh, look at that.
Spinach?
Spinach.
Isn't it spinach?
Spinach.
Where's the CH on the end of that word?
like pie, like Popeye. So you can see here. So when it was harvested, we had a little bit of damage here, but you can see that beautiful flesh. So what we're going to do is we're going to begin to develop a stuffing now that we're going to tuck in there and then roll this over top. So let's get started on that stuffing. I'm going to wash my hands and we're going to get started on that.
Just a cool story while he washes his hands. Dad harvested this whitetail, like I said, almost a year ago. And it was our first, I think almost our first hunting anything.
Yeah.
So you can imagine, it was minus 30. We're sitting up in a tree stand. I'm down in the ground blind with the camera because we're filming it. And the deer walks in. And he was at about 20 yards. And Dad drew back. And we actually had a mic right here on his chest. And as soon as he drew back, we could actually hear his heartbeat on that mic through like what was 4 layers of clothing because it was that cold.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's literally like, you want to talk about an adrenaline high. It's amazing. So what we're going to do with this, the first thing I want to show you, we have this beautiful spinach. The great thing about this modern era we live in is that you can get beautiful ingredients like this just about anywhere. Yeah. So you could use baby lettuce, a small lettuce, no problem. If you get larger leaf lettuce like this, all I want you to do is just literally, Bailey, just literally pinch off that stem. And so I want you to work through, we've got a full bunch of spinach here, thank you. So literally just work on it and put that bunch right there. And then what Dakota's got, go up there and show them, we got some beautiful shiitake mushrooms. Now, if you think about some of the things that the deer eat, what I love to do when I'm thinking about a recipe is, what do the deer eat? What's going to taste good with them? And that's really true of many recipes. The things that are harvested and the things that grow, oftentimes they go really good together. Yep. So the thing about the shiitake mushroom is that stem, that's not good for anything except making a stock. Yep. So literally all you want, and I'm going to come up and show you, yep, all I want you to do is literally just take, and that will pull right out of the base just like that. This is good, and this we're going to discard. So Code's going to start running through that. Yep. And while he's doing that, what I want you to do then is we'll just slice that. Yep. I'm going to get a little bit, I'm going to preheat a pan here. And I've got a natural gas stove. I'm using a cast iron pan. So you can use any pan, but I really like the cast iron because it holds the heat, transfers the heat. It allows me to pull it off. It'll continue cooking a little bit to finish it to perfection.
And like my dad was saying, you can keep these stems for a stock. There still is flavor in them. It's just if you were to cook them this way, even in a stock, you would still pull them out after. You just want to use them for the flavor. They won't break down into a nice, texture for you to eat.
No, they're very tough, but let me tell you, the shiitakes, they're beautiful. They're going to be beautiful flavor carriers here. And how we come along there, babe? So if we look at the profile of what we're doing here, the beautiful mushrooms are going to have that really earthy, fresh flavor. The spinach is going to give us that really nice freshness. We're going to use a little bit. I'm just going to keep it off this board for food safety. And I'm just going to take and set this aside just for 1 minute.
Give you a look at what this looks like on the inside here. You can see what those mushrooms look like on the inside. They're just gorgeous.
So the thing we're going to do on the side of this is I'm actually going to take cremini mushrooms. We're just going to do a little bit of a side. So it's funny, this backstrap or loin, it's a little smaller. It was not a big deer. So as the deers get bigger, obviously the backstraps get bigger. Yep. But it's such, there's only 2 of them. And they only go so far. So when we do prepare it, we want it to be something that's incredibly special. So we've got a couple giveaways tonight that I want to talk about while the boys are doing their work here. Nice job there. It looks awesome. I love cooking like this, telling these guys what to do. We've got 2 $50 merchandise cards for the Bowtech merchandise site. So if you've ever been on there, they got cool shirts and hoodies and hats and all kinds of great gear. So we're going to be giving one of those away. So if you could please, to enter, like and share this particular feed, and then make a comment, say, hey man, I need a new shirt, my dog ate mine, or whatever it is. And then do me a favor, tag a buddy, tag a friend, someone who you think would enjoy the Outdoor Chef. And by all means, if there's anything we can do to make this broadcast better for you as we hone it and get it closer to what we want it to be, yep, put those in the comments right down below. We'd love to hear from you. As a matter of fact, I'd really like to hear where you're watching from. I'd like to get a couple shout outs from anywhere, wherever you're watching around the world. I'd love to hear from you. So type where you're watching from. Throw us a heart. Yep.
So Sean says that he needs a new shirt because his elk 8 is.
Okay, Sean. I don't know if I believe it, Sean. Okay, maybe you should talk to Randy Newberg in the next hour, right? No, okay, Sean, I love that. Let's, Sean, I don't think we're going to get a better one than that. Sean, you just won yourself a $50 Bowtech card. I love it. Part of what we love to do also is give good gear away.
Hold on. Was it on you? There's the question.
Was it on you?
Was it on? Because if it's on, you can have my boat.
Yeah, and if you no kidding. We got to hear from you. What is he saying? Was he wearing it, or did he just elk chase him down? Doesn't say yet.
So shout outs from Georgia.
Georgia.
Kentucky.
Yeah. Hey, listen, Kentucky.
Florida.
I got roots in Kentucky.
Yeah.
I got a picture of my great grandmother sitting on a porch
with a
corn cob pipe, okay, and that was in Cubbage. So if you know where Cubbage is, or if you're from Cubbage, that's even better.
And we may be Canadian, but I got married in Georgia, Savannah, Georgia, on Tybee Island.
So
I was there.
Yep. I've got this pan heated up nicely now. What I always do is without touching the pan, obviously, I just feel over the top of the pan. I can feel it's good and hot. There's two things I'm going to use. I've got butter, and then I'm going to use camelina oil. Camelina oil is really fragrant. This is a cold pressed extra virgin. And all that means is it's the first pressing. It's going to have a high smoke point, which I love. And the butter has a low smoke point. This has high. So the two together allows me to cook with the flavor of the butter and the camelina without burning it.
Question.
Yeah.
What do you mean when you say smoke point?
So the smoke point is the point at which literally the fat will burn. So if you think about if you've ever put butter in a pan and it's gone brown and then black very quickly.
It smells terrible.
Butter has a really low smoke point, where the camelina is quite high. Olive oil is high, but olive oil has a tendency to be very bitter when it burns. Yeah. So for some things like pan frying, I like to use vegetable oil, peanut oil, in this case camelina, or canola oil is brilliant too.
But the reason I love camelina oil, and I don't know if you guys know this particular camelina is grown here in Saskatchewan, but you know, you see in the grocery store omega-3 rich eggs, right? And so what it actually is they feed the chickens camelina, and because camelina is high in omega-3 fatty acids, which that's all I always wondered. I'm like, are they feeding these chickens omega?
How do they get it in? Well, it's incredibly nutritious. It's really good for you. Yes, Megan.
We have a question from Brian. Can you do it in an oven?
Can you do this in an oven? Oh yeah, absolutely.
We're actually, what we're going to do is we're just going to be pan searing for flavor, build a little bit of a brown outer layer, and then we will be popping it in the oven to finish.
Yep.
And then from Michael, he says, what about avocado or coconut oil?
Oh, avocado and coconut oil are both beautiful. The downside with coconut oil is when you heat it up, it just turns to pure saturated fat. Yeah. I'd rather use the coconut oil raw, because then it's extremely good for you. Yeah. Avocado oil is beautiful. Frankly, I love everything that comes from California. And so does my wife. Great questions. Keep them coming, guys. This is all about you.
And we're actually going to be, the camelina oil that we're using right now, we're actually going to be giving away a 3-pack.
Let's get the prize pack. Yeah, we're going to give away this camelina oil. So these are from our good friends at Three Farmers. And take it up there. You take the bottles out so they can see.
Yeah. I'll show you the different bottles here. They have just a straight up camelina oil. It's cold pressed. And then this one here is a roasted chili. This one's got a little bit of a kick to it, but man, is it good. And then this one here is roasted onion and garlic. So we could use this one in this situation as well if we wanted to add more of those flavors. But it's a 3-pack from Three Farmers here in Saskatchewan.
Tell us why you need some camelina oil. We'll be happy to send it to you. Promise you you're going to love it. Just want to take a moment. We're just about to get into this stuffing. Just to let you know, the reason that we're doing the stuffing first is we want to do the stuffing and then just let it cool just slightly before we stuff it in. So I'll tell you what, Code, why don't you grab that camera, let's show them up close what's going on. So what you'll see is you'll see the bubbles in this. So that's the butter. And you can see, if you get in real tight, can you see the smoke there, Code? So you can see, if you can catch that smoke, what you want is you never want to put your food into a cold pan. So let's get a look at these. Let's take these beautiful shiitakes. So you take a big mitt full of shiitakes like this. You notice I've got a big enough pan. And the reason that I want that is I want to make sure to saute it. So if you want incredible flavors, what you have to do is you have to add them at every level. So what I'm doing here, getting rid of some of the water, adding some brown flavor, and that brown flavor is just caramelizing all the natural goodness. So the next thing you have to do, you want to season at every level. So I'm going to put a little bit of fresh ground black pepper. And I've got in this, I just love this. Let's have a quick look at this. I've got some of this beautiful rock salt. So this is the Himalayan salt. It's incredibly good for you and has really beautiful flavor. Cole, let's get up tight on this. And Bailey, I'll just get you to strip in some fresh thyme, please.
I know we've mentioned this before in the weeks prior, but with thyme or any kind of herb that's on a stem like this, all you really have to do is grab it by the top and go against the grain of the leaves, and it just all comes off real easy. So you're not sitting there picking at it like this, trying to get every leaf off.
Strip it down, strip it off. If it's a newer thyme, you can actually slice up the stem as well. But this is a little more woody, so we just want to strip those off. Yes, Megan.
Kimberly says, I need those for my husband who loves cooking deer and always looking for new things to cook it with.
Kimberly, I think you're our first female commenter. I love it. Thank you, Kimberly. Those camelina oils, they're yours, Kimberly. Yes.
We also have Dustin who said, my medicine needs an oil bath.
Okay, Dustin, tune in next week because we're going to give another one away next week. And Dustin, I want to give one to you. So you join us next week. So, Cole, let's have another look here. So you can see what we've got. Now look at how the flavor is beginning to develop in the pan there. And I can smell that beautiful thyme. It smells just incredible. Now, what I'm going to do is, Bailey did all kinds of hard work with this incredible spinach. So all I'm going to do is just take a big mitt full of it and just put it down on top. And what's going to happen is that's going to begin, Bailey, you can put the rest of that in. That's going to begin to wilt down.
Yeah, the first time I ever cooked spinach in a pan, I was surprised. He filled it to like this, but when it's done, it goes down to almost like a cup.
It does. So, and this is really the key. It's just to get a lid on top of it, of some kind. Toss it all in. Get a lid on top of it just as you start. What's gonna happen is it'll begin to wilt. That steam will begin to break it down. The great thing about it is all of that flavor is going to be concentrated in that beautiful stuffing. So as you slice through, you get that beautiful, beautiful flavor. Yes?
Cody says, bet you won't give away a cooler.
Oh! Cody, go get the small cooler in there. We have a cooler giveaway. And I'm going to tell you about it right now. I'm going to tell you about it now because I'm not going to give it away. We're going to give away that cooler at Bear Camp. We're at Bear Camp 2 weeks from now. And, yeah, thanks, babe. So,
Too much food.
yeah, too much food. Take them up there. Show them that bad boy. We're going to give away a cooler at Bear Camp. So, Cody, you got to join us at Bear Camp 2 weeks from now.
So this is a Grizzly cooler. This is a 20-liter. Comes with the strap. We're going to be giving this bad boy away.
And it's customized. Check out the lid.
Customized too. Grizzly proof for a Grizzly cooler, and it's customized the outdoor chef.
Show them the bottom of that. I love that Grizzly.
Oh yeah, Grizzly
Sick,
there,
man.
rubber feet. This thing, and surprisingly, it kept ice. We had pops in here, as we like to say, or beer, for about 4 days in there, and it kept it cold.
You know, it's important when you're hunting, keep your pops cold. So I want you to have a look. We'll just wait just a second, because I want to show you what the wilting looks like.
Yep.
So let me see. So we're going to start working. Now, how does this sound to you? Stuffed whitetail backstrap with a horseradish cream.
So we're going to do a horseradish cream.
Fresh horseradish cream. So let's get started.
So just in case you were wondering, what this little,
Yeah, no kidding.
what this root was down on the set here, this is horseradish. Horseradish root.
Horseradish root. Now, if you don't, yes, Megan. Dustin wanted oils?
Yeah.
Okay, Dustin. We'll get you some oils. Listen, if we've called out your name during this broadcast, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to go over, send us a message. We're going to need to communicate with you and get your information. And if you're just joining us, we've got some great giveaways. I have one more $50 Bowtech card to give away. If you're just joining us, we are making a whitetail backstrap. It's stuffed, and we're doing a horseradish cream.
We just said we're doing a horseradish cream.
Horseradish cream. So horseradish, yes.
So Sean said, sounds like Dustin is the man, and Brooke wrote again, P.S. Dustin, if you win, you gotta have your sister up for dinner.
Oh, I love it. We love you guys. That's awesome.
That was some family. I don't know about that.
Hey, we would do the same thing.
Yeah, we would do it. So just so you know, yeah.
She said, bam, you owe me dinner. Thanks, y'all.
Yeah, that's good, girl. That's awesome. Okay, let's bring that camera up. I want to have a quick look at this. And I want to show you what it should look like. I need the tongs. The wooden ones? I'll just use these ones. So see how that's kind of nicely wilted? And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stir this up. So I wish you could smell this. I'm sure that smell-o-vision will be with us before you know it. But what this smells like is it smells very earthy, very fragrant, and there's tons of flavor in here. Now, one of the things I'm going to do, whenever you're preparing, anytime you saute anything, what you're developing, and I want you to stay right here with me, Code, what you're developing in the pan is a ton of flavor. As the liquid begins to escape, what you've got in the bottom of the pan is flavor. So what I'm going to use, you can use anything, I'm going to use a little bit of white wine here. And what you're going to get is that white wine is going to be completely gone. But what happens is, you see that beautiful, all that flavor is coming up off the bottom of that pan, and it's going to be locked inside that incredible, beautiful stuffing.
And the important thing to remember, I thought I couldn't eat half the stuff he cooks, but when you cook with alcohol, when you put it in a hot pan, all the alcohol burns off. So it's completely safe to eat for kids or anything like that. There's no actual alcohol content.
No alcohol content.
Just
that's
the flavor.
Right. So one of the great things also about working with the cast iron pan is this, to me, feels like it's really close to being finished. What I'll do is I can turn that off and walk away, and the last 10-15% of cooking that needs to be done there, it will be done on its own. I can forget about it. It's not going to burn. So the cast iron really becomes a huge hand when you're cooking. Awesome. If you're having fun right now, throw me some of those hearts, throw me a few of those thumbs up, and I want to hear where you're watching from right now. This is Surefire Wednesdays with the Outdoor Chef. Smells good, eh? Okay, so let's get into our recipe. We've got the horseradish cream. So the horseradish cream is very basic. And Bailey, I'll get you to start working on that code. I need you to start working on these. So we've got these beautiful cremini mushrooms.
Am I stirring air? What do I do?
Yeah, well, I'll get to you in there in a second, buddy. Yes, yeah.
So
Alicia, yeah.
asked if you drank all the wine, what else can you use?
Okay, so Alicia, I like your style. I gotta say. So you can use literally, you can use some water. Water will bring it up off the bottom. You can use some chicken stock, beef stock, vegetable stock. Pork for this might be a little heavy right here.
Yeah.
Want to think about this always when you're pairing anything. If you were to take a bite of one and take a bite of another, how is that going to be in taste? So the spinach is pretty acidic.
Yep.
So something that would pair nicely: white wine, a light beer,
lager or something.
Yeah,
like
a
that.
lager would be really nice. Even a rosé wine would be good. A red wine would be a little heavy. A port would be a little heavy.
Yep.
Bourbon would be great in here. Bourbon and great. Whiskey be good in here.
Yep.
So it's interesting because just think about the way that it comes off your palate. Think about the flavors. So one of the great things about cooking with wine in general is that all of the effort that the vintner, or if you're using beer, the beer, what do you call it? The beer guy.
Oh, brewmaster.
Brewmaster, thank you. Love brewmasters. So you've taken all of their hard work and you've concentrated that flavor.
And we're going to be having some pretty powerful flavors as well on top. As you can see, we have some peppercorns as well.
Yeah.
So we're going to crush some peppercorns and we're going to coat the top of this loin.
A lot of times, so this side Code's going to start working on right now. A lot of times you can cut something up like the way we did for shiitakes for the stuffing. But when it comes to this, I want to see the ingredient,
Yeah.
especially by chance if you've had the opportunity to maybe forage, like if you forage some morels or chanterelles, you want to be able, you don't want to mash it up, you don't want to hack it up.
No.
So all we're going to do is trim these. We're going to leave the stems on, just trim off the bottom because those stems are really beautiful.
So all you're going to do, just at the stem at the bottom, slice through. Just taking that, leaving that little bit in there. When you slice through it, it's going to give you a really nice look as if you were just to break the stem off inside.
Yeah.
Gives you that classic mushroom look. If you break that stem off, it's just going to look like a half moon.
Beautiful.
And for those of you
I
who
think
aren't really a
these,
fan of
Loin,
mushrooms,
slice in half.
I hate mushrooms,
Slice in
but when you
half,
pair
this
it
way.
with something like venison or something like that, it's like faint, but you can still taste it, and it's a good way to sneak
Yeah,
those
leave the
mushrooms in there if you're not a
forward.
huge fan, or if
Oh,
anyone in your
just trim
family
just
isn't a
the
fan.
Okay, I want to show you what this looks like. I'm just going to have a quick, I want to show you how this is dried up nicely. You can see that beautiful texture. It's still moist, which means it's going to be very flavorful. But that's the way it should look when you're ready to go. Not overcooked. I sure don't want to put a mash in there. I want to make sure that because texture is such an important thing when we're eating, you want to make sure as you bite through it, you still have that bite. So we've got, you know what I think we should give away too, eh?
What?
We should give away one of those incredible Vortex monoculars. I love those things. You want to grab one? Okay, so we're going to give away, Vortex is a fantastic partner of ours. And without Botec, Vortex, and all of these incredible people.
As you can see, they send me a nice little piece from Sitka Gear.
Yes. What's this called again?
We were out hunting yesterday afternoon, and as you can see, I still haven't taken it off. I'm literally in love with this new.
I think you slept in it.
This new subalpine pattern is incredible. I mean, we were out in the bush yesterday. We had turkeys literally 5 yards from us.
Yeah.
No idea.
No idea. Yes, Megan.
So we just had Jessica from Cheselberg turn in, and she just wants to know what you guys are making.
Okay, thank you, Jessica. Jessica, we're using whitetail backstrap. So that's the venison loin. And we've butterflied it. I'm going to bring it back over. We've butterflied it. We're going to stuff it. And so we've just worked on the stuffing. And Bailey's working on a horseradish cream now. So, Babe, show them that monocular. I love this monocular.
So this is it's the same thing as a binocular, only it's got a tie and a nice little package. It fits right around your neck. And if you don't want to carry big old binoculars, or if you're just on a scouting trip, this is great. Comes in just like a normal binocular or focus ring. And I'll maybe you see something cool here. I don't know if I can get it to work.
So we're going to give one of these away. Listen, tell me about, one of the things that's great about Vortex is they've got this incredible warranty. So it doesn't matter what happens to a Vortex product. If it gets trashed, if you back over it, you get burnt in a house fire, whatever happens, they stand behind their products. So you tell me, somebody tell me a story out there about something happened to your glass, and we'd love to give you a replacement right now and replace it with Vortex optics.
Yeah, it was a great story when we visited Vortex here in Canada. I don't know if some of you have heard of the Fort McMurray fires. They were just tragic, and they had at their office there, they had bags full of Vortex optics that had been burnt up in people's houses, and they were replacing all of them, not because of any special treatment, but just because of their VIP warranty.
Yeah. So the next thing I'm going to do, now that this stuffing has nicely cooked up, I'm going to take it off the heat because I want it to cool down. Less important with this recipe, but a principle I want you to learn right now. So in a professional kitchen, one of the things that would absolutely have to happen is that I would tell anybody that I was training that this has to be brought down to temperature. So I've put it here on a porcelain plate because I want that to cool off. I want it to cool off before I put it into the venison. I'm just going to take and set that up here while we're working away on finishing the horseradish cream.
Megan, question?
So Wayne says howdy from Texas.
Hey, Wayne.
He said Arlington, Texas. He just got a Botec Carbon Icon, so
Oh.
he needs the Vortex.
Yes.
And then we had Brooke, who said, OMG, wasted the assist. I need to buy. Knows Father's Day is coming up.
Oh, man.
You're
you
gonna
guys-
love gonna love that bow because I shoot the carbon icon and
That's
I
right.
absolutely love it.
Yeah, why don't you grab it?
Yeah, I'll grab
You
it.
grab it. So thank you for all your feedback tonight. It's an awesome privilege. Yes, let's hear it. Go, Megs.
Jeremiah says this is my daughter's first year hunting with her Eva Shockey Bowtech.
Oh.
One of those would be great for her. Today is her birthday.
Oh my God, that's so unfair. What's her name?
What did I miss?
What's her name?
I don't know what her name is.
Okay, Jeremiah, what's your daughter's name? Show him the carbon icon. Okay, I gotta keep cooking here.
So, sorry, what was the fellow's name from Texas?
Wayne.
So Wayne, I hunt with the carbon icon as well. Actually, when we head up to bear camp in about a week or so,
Yeah.
That's
what he's gonna be hunting.
I'm up for the first shot, and I'll be our setup's at about 40 yards to our site, and I'll be hunting with the carbon icon as well.
That's if he doesn't miss the first shot. Then it's my shot.
I never miss with a bow set.
You are hired. Okay, we gotta keep going here. Yes.
Jeremiah's daughter's name is Kayla Ann.
Kayla Ann, we would be happy to send you this binocular, dear. We want to say happy birthday. It's your birthday.
Oh, really?
It's your birthday.
Oh, okay.
So
Perfect.
happy birthday from all of us at the Outdoor Chef from Bowtech. We love the fact that you're hunting. Love the fact that you got an Eva Shockey bow.
awesome.
That's a sick bow, and we wish you the very best. Make sure to message us, and we'll get you that binocular. dear.
Everyone who's won something, make sure to message us your address, name, so that we can get it off to you.
Yeah, and also when you get your giveaway from us, make sure to take a picture or even just write a post. Let us know that you got it.
Yeah.
Let us see that you got it. Let's see what you're using it for. Tag us in any photos that you take with it. We love to see the stuff that you guys use it
Yeah,
for.
as you can see, we love to give stuff away, but even more, we love to see your guys' stories. It's one
Okay.
thing.
Stories, hold for a second. We gotta cook. Okay, let's get these on. So now same principle again. So the principle is saute. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna put a little bit of fat in the pan. So we got some butter, we got some of the camelina oil, which I'm gonna put in, and I'm heating it up. And these mushrooms are going to be for the side dish. So literally, I just want to get these ahead. You can see I've got that just on low. And so the butter is bubbling away. Now these mushrooms are going to go in, just like this. And get a really nice size. That's right, Bailey. Give them a good coat. Hot.
I got
And-
chef hand.
And when you're sauteing, after you get those mushrooms in the pan, just make sure to just leave them alone. Let them saute.
Yeah. And in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw some of these beautiful strands in. And Bae, what I want you to do is I want you to get a head of garlic. And what we're going to do is we're going to throw in, just like this. I want to show you a really great technique. So if you want to really enjoy the flavor of garlic, but maybe don't want it to be too pungent, literally put them in just like this. We'll just throw a couple of these in. And those are going to roast. They'll be protected so they don't burn. But they will give incredible flavor. Two is actually probably enough. So we'll let that cook away. Now you'll tell me what do we have to do here? Have to make sure to season. So a little bit of salt. Now remember, salt, it will take out some of the liquid and assist in that regard. And then always, if you can, instead of the shaker of pepper, use fresh ground if you can. Think about pepper, the whole peppercorns. When you grind it, you're activating those oils. So what's happening is it's much more fragrant, much more fresh, and it's going to give you more flavor.
It makes a huge difference. I remember the first time I actually made eggs with fresh ground peppercorns instead of just pepper. I was used to putting so much on my eggs with just the powdered pepper, and I did too many turns with the thing, and I was like, oh, that's what I normally put on. But it was like I literally had to throw the eggs away because it was too peppery. That's how much more pungent the
And when it comes to pepper, if you can find some of this tricolor, or some of them is even quad color pepper, you have red, white, green, and black pepper. You just get so many more different flavors.
Yeah, because some are tiny little buds, some are, there's a wide range of flavors. So what Bailey's got going here, we're doing this horseradish cream. So if you want a little kick of flavor, we got some heat going always. Yeah. And the nice thing about this horseradish cream is you can temper it. It can be as hot or as mild as you want it.
Yep.
So we're going to use the fresh horseradish. Bailey's got a couple cups of sour cream. Now you could also use Greek yogurt. You could take a whipping cream whip it to soft peaks and fold it in there. So it can be, you could even use a double cream or even a sin cream, the creme fraiche. So what you want is you want a cream that's slightly acidic, that's going to carry and hold the horseradish. So you can really use a lot of different options. So, but I need shallots, so I need a fine dice of shallots. So shallots are, yeah, go for it.
So this is a shallot. Once again, much like a leek, you get a lot of that oniony garlic flavor. It's a lot smaller.
They look like small onions.
They look like small onions, but the flavor on them is incredible. You probably see them in the store and maybe think that they are onions, but they're not. I'll show you the inside of what they look like.
And we'll be showing you as soon as we get this roast in the oven how to sharpen and hone your knives. And that's really important when you're using shallots because they're almost twice as bad as onions, I find.
You
You
can
start
see
crying instantly.
They have a pinkish hue on the inside, unlike onions, which are almost all white if you have a fresh onion.
So what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to begin to peel back this horseradish. And if you can see what I'm doing is literally just taking a knife, and if you don't want to, use your finger like this, you can just put it flat on the board and literally just slide down the side. You can use a peeler to do this or a paring knife. And all you want to do is just take off that brown outside. Megan, any questions? Do you have any questions at home?
No questions, but Jeremiah says that he sold back a week's vacation to get her bow.
Oh.
But it was worth it to get the kids shooting. And Alicia said that he must be a great dad.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Especially in hunting, I personally, this was our second year getting our hunting license. This year was the first year I ever shot a bow. She'll find as soon as she shoots that bow more and more, and then when she starts hunting more and more, it'll be almost like an infection. You can't stop it. It almost becomes a part of who you are as a person and how you live your everyday life. It's crazy.
As Mr. Burnworth says, the mystical flight of the arrow will get you. And
Oh, yeah.
Especially recently, I started shooting my bow with both eyes open. And I wasn't necessarily more accurate, but I would do it just for the fact that I can watch my arrow go down range. I love it.
See, and I have to do that anyway because I got some really messed up eyes. So everything I shoot,
That's a messed up eye.
That's not always got messed up. So what Dakota's doing is he's preparing a fine dice of shallots. So all we want is the shallots. The nice thing about shallots, unlike onion and garlic, is raw. They're really quite nice. As long as it's uniform cutting and as long as it's a small bite, it's really very pleasant.
Are you doing another one there, Coach?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I'll show you here. We are going to be talking about knife sharpening, but I'll show you a knife skill here as well. When you're holding a knife, I don't want to see any of this stuff or this stuff. Pinch grip, what you want to do is grab your knife with your index finger and your thumb, pinch it, and tuck your 3 fingers under the back side of the knife. And then what you're going to do is this rolling motion. You do back here. A knife is shaped like this for a reason, so that when you're cutting, it rolls like that, and you never have to leave the board. A lot of the time when you're doing this, especially with onions, is that what you're doing when you do this is you're breaking the cells. That is the reason that you cry when you cut onions. What you're doing is breaking those cells. So if you don't have a sharp knife, once again, breaking those cells, and especially if you're doing that.
What I want to do and why I want to come off here is that I know a lot of people, me, I never do. The technique of doing small dice.
Okay, so hang on to that for a second.
Okay.
Babe, come on back here. I got to get the stuffing on because I got to get this on, otherwise we're not going to get it done. Randy Newberg's going to be on at
10 o'clock Eastern.
10 Eastern,
7
7 Pacific, and I don't want to be cooking right up until his show starts. So don't miss Randy. If you don't know who Randy is, and I'm sure you already do, Randy is an elk expert. He's a conservation and wild, public lands. He knows public lands like just about nobody else. Actually, it's a real inspiration.
Like the back of his bow.
Yeah, like the back of his bow. So you can see we've got the beautiful back strap here. What I'm going to do is a little bit of salt. So I want to salt the inside. Remember, I'm always layering seasoning. A little bit of black pepper. Now I've got this beautiful stuffing here, Bailey. So the key is you literally just take the stuffing and we're just going to put it, just look at the colors, guys. I mean, come on. This makes hunting fun. Because all those hours you spend in the blinds and getting busted by deer and getting busted by turkeys and you know, those cold times and those impossible times. This is what makes it so rewarding.
And for those of you who think deer is a really strong flavored meat, with the spinach and the mushrooms as well as the peppercorn base we're going to put on the outside, if you have a really strong meat, you really want to pair it with really strong flavors. And that way you're not just getting that initial punch of the meat, but you're also getting those flavors that are inside and on the outside, and it really takes away that initial really gaminess in the meat.
Grab me some paper towels there, babe. Thank you. So now we've got this beautiful roll going here, and this part I'm not going to rush, okay? I want you to see this, and I want to teach you this technique. Now, a lot of times, you know, I have a huge, in this case, wrapping this right now in bacon or prosciutto, it would be really, really beautiful. But if I want to avoid some of that super heavy fat, there's a couple techniques I can show you. Now, you can tie this individually, okay? You can tie each one and go down about every inch, and as you do, bring it together. But what I want to show you is literally, so when you tie this, go around once like you would a normal tennis shoe, and then go around a second time, so that when you cinch that nice and snug, see that? It holds. So then you tie that over and snug that up. Look at that. Beautiful. And then as you go underneath, you literally just do a little twist and a little shimmy, okay? And you can tie it together.
Just think of a country song. A little twist, a little shimmy, and you're good to go.
Exactly.
So do that a little slower there so you can see when you go to that loop.
Okay, so I'm going to go like this, loop it, drag it under, and then I just literally cinch it over. And this is the part, Dakota and Bailey, where you just take your time. You want this to be just right, and this is something anybody can do at home. Remember, all I want to do here is I just want to keep these flavors together. Wrapping them with bacon would be a brilliant idea. But what we're going to do with this and topping it with the black peppercorns, I don't want to have anything on top of it. And I also want to do some really healthy recipes. I can't even tell you how healthy this would be with the mushrooms and the spinach and the protein and this incredible backstrap. This is a winner. One of the things you have to know, I want you to know about the Outdoor Chef and Surefire Wednesdays, is all of these recipes are unproven. So what you're seeing right now is us in our test kitchen. We're sharing this experience with you because we want you to be involved in helping us shape and create recipes for you. And so anyway, that's how that is done. And when I get to the end, I'm just going to tie it off.
And it looks amazing too. I mean, it's not just practical, it's really nice looking.
Yeah, you know what we need, eh?
It's almost like getting grill lines in the oven. When you do this, it kind of gets, after you cut the string, when it's done, you have those lines on the meat, so it looks pretty good for presentation as well.
For presentation, it also helps you with portioning because you've done it uniform across the whole, right across the whole loin. So that's all tucked up nicely now. I've got all those beautiful ingredients in there. And I'll tell you what, grab me that platter over there. And what I want you to do, Code, is just take this up to our viewers. Just give them one last look before we go into the pan with that. There we go. Perfect.
Megan, you got a question? Or?
We just had Justin who said I should have watched this before ordering pizza. Suddenly pizza doesn't sound good anymore.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
Thank you, buddy.
This
Thank
is better
you.
than pizza.
And Ryan said it looks amazing.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks, Ryan.
Pizza's never a bad idea.
No. Okay, so I'm going to pull this out of the way. Food safety, just a little quick note about food safety. So I've used raw meat on this now. If you use a mixture of 1 part bleach to 10 parts water, that will sanitize this, you wipe it down, and it's food safe. So you don't have to worry about wiping it again. It's good to go.
I think a cool recipe, I just thought about that with that question. We should make a venison pizza.
Venison pizza, you know where we'll do it? Listen, we're going to do a bunch of these on the barbecue at our outdoor set. What we'll do is we'll do like venison, we'll do like a focaccia with venison on top of it, and we'll do venison pizza as well. I love it.
What's a focaccia?
It's bread. Okay. So now, like we said, listen, if you're just joining us for this stuffed whitetail backstrap with a beautiful horseradish sauce, which I promise we're going to get to, One of the things, you know, the outdoor chef is all about you. Yeah, didn't put camelina? Okay, so I put butter in there, no camelina, so what do we got?
You're still good.
We're good? So the butter browned, adding the camelina raises the smoke point. So what I've done is I've got a cast iron pan over here that we're heating up because the one thing you always want to do is you want to make sure your pan is hot. So like I was saying, the Outdoor Chef and Surefire Wednesdays and Bowtech is all about tailoring these experiences for you, for making it a more enjoyable thing. You know, hunting is, like Bailey said, being a hunter, an angler, an outdoors person, it's not something that we do. It's who we are.
Yeah.
It gets into your DNA. It gets into your veins, and it drives you in different ways that, honestly, I was not expecting.
I can't imagine after 25 years of this. I've only been doing it 2 years, and I find it hard to work. I can't think of anything else.
We'll come inside from our garage and we'll find, it's not uncommon to find Dakota standing here with a cup of coffee staring in the backyard, and it's just grass. And he just stares at stuff walk by. He never cuts the grass, but just watches it.
No. So what we're going to do now is we're going to kick it up. Just before we do, Megan, yes.
Ryan says about any grouse recipes on the agenda.
Grouse?
Yep.
Yes, we hunted grouse. We got a couple dozen of them up north in the
On
fall.
a bear hunt.
On a bear hunt.
No bear.
Lots
Lots
of
of
grouse.
No bear.
But yes, thank you. Yeah, grouse. We and maybe at bear camp. I'll tell you what, Ryan. If we get a grouse at bear camp, we'll do a grouse. We'll do Ryan's bear camp grouse because I've wanted to do one by the fireside so badly. So
we're gonna be taking some wild game up with us to cook by the campfire. So
and if you want to try
grouse would
something
be good.
while you wait, if you go to Bowtech's website, like we said, and you go to the recipe portion, we actually did a recipe with rock dove. And I'm sure you could adapt that and maybe just give it a try and see if that works out and let us know.
So if some of you don't know rock dove, I found this out at the time as well. It's just your common pigeon.
Yeah.
Now, we didn't go walking into the city and shooting pigeons off a building.
No, we weren't on Fifth Avenue picking them off. No.
These are farm pigeons who are well fed. They eat corn all day.
Yep. So what I've got, I want to keep going here. What I've got is you've all seen it. This is that beautiful pepper mix. Just take that up there just so they can see it. It's that beautiful.
Come off and show you grinding it.
Look.
There you go.
So it's that pepper mix. And what I want to do is, you might think, well, that's going to be a lot of heat. Well, when you saute it, when you crush it, and when you heat it up, it mellows it right out. But it is a beautiful flavor. So Cole's got into mortar and pestle. If you don't have a mortar and pestle, let me tell you something. For Surefire Wednesdays, you're going to need one.
And I mean, here in Canada, you know, home defense isn't exactly a thing that we're allowed to do, but if you accidentally walk into the kitchen and need to hit someone over the head with something, the mortar is definitely something you want to use. I mean,
okay, get grinding. We got to get serious here. Come on. Okay, so I've got salt. Salt's going on. And so it's moderate amounts of salt, a little bit on the inside, a little bit on the outside. The one thing that the salt does, as you know, salt seasons. And one of the things that salt in this case is going to do is really bring out that beautiful flavor of the white-tailed deer. Smells it. I can smell it from here. So by using the mortar and pestle, what Dakota is doing is he's heating it up slightly. He's crushing it up, but we don't want to make it a powder because you might say, well, why didn't you just use the ground pepper on top? You wait and see. I'm going to put a significant amount on this, and the flavor finish for this is incredible. So my mushrooms are done. My pan is smoking hot over here, so you got to hurry up. Perfect. That's good. Grab the camera, and let's show them how this is done. Here, Bay, hang on to that. So I'm literally going to take... and I'm going to put these out on my board and just kind of spread those out a little bit. And I'm going to take this bad boy and I'm going to roll the top right in. And what I end up with is this. Now come on. Come on, throw me some of those hearts. I need, you know, we gotta talk to Facebook. We need like some type of a symbol for chefs. Should be a little chef's hat or something like that. So the pan is hot. Now literally what I'm doing is I'm going to take this over and this is going to go into the pan, presentation side down. That's going down. I'm going to press that. Now you're going to want to turn it over and look at it. I want you to leave it alone. That's got to cook like that for about 5 to 7 minutes before we turn it over. I'm just going to wash my hands with it.
Megan, question.
I got a question. Why don't you put it on both sides?
I don't know. Ask that.
So if you put it on, you could put it on both sides. So what I want to do with this, so I want to have an accented heat. So what I would do, if this was, for example, if it was a beef tenderloin, which would be more like this size, then going all the way around with pepper would be quite nice. But because the strap is quite thin, it's going to be more than enough flavor just doing it on top. Plus, it's going to look really sick.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's done. Now listen, I want to do a little bit. We're going to finish this up. Let's get down to this. So we got to grind some of that in there. So if you don't have a microplane, this is the next purchase for you before next Surefire next week. I want you to pick one of these up. Microplane gives you a really beautiful, extremely fine shred. So whether you're doing garlic, or in this case, the what's this called again?
Horseradish.
Horseradish. Sorry, I need a big water here. Doing horseradish.
How much?
Just keep going. Do a little bit. Let me see the bottom of that. Beautiful. But what I want you to do is I want you to do a bunch, and I want you to take it up and show them what it does.
Are you going to come to me?
I'm coming.
Come to me. I don't come to you. So what this is just almost like a cheese grater. There's tons of little holes there that grind it. And as you go, it just shaves off whatever you're grinding. You can do this with almost anything. I do it with ginger for like if you're making shakes or anything like that. If you just keep going.
Oh man, that smells incredible.
Yeah, this definitely has an interesting smell. I wasn't expecting it to smell like that.
Yeah, it smells fantastic. So let's have a quick look here. You can see now, I'm going to break my own rule, but I want you to see how incredible this looks. Sorry, buddy. Literally, I'm just going to just tip it up. Look at that. That's what we want. I'm telling you, if you're a hunter, you can get restaurant quality, 5-diamond, 3 Michelin star food, and it's effortless. A little bit of your favorite ingredients, and you can, like Mr. Shockey says, eat like a king. You can eat like a king because you're eating organic. You're eating some of the finest meat that you'll ever be able to get. So we have another $50 gift card to give away.
Yeah.
So let's right now, if you can do me a favor, like this broadcast, share this broadcast. Tell me why you need a new shirt. So we had some guy, what's his name again, who had his shirt eaten by an elk.
Likely story.
That's okay, yeah. We love that story. Tell me why you need this $50 worth of Bowtech gear. And if you don't mind, tag a buddy, tag a mom, tag a sister, friend, and let them know about the Outdoor Chef and Surefire Wednesdays.
How's that coming along?
That's perfect. So fold that all together. And the next thing we want to do with that is we want just a little bit of salt and pepper. And a little bit of the camelina. Yeah, it's hot.
No, I touched my eye.
Oh, good luck.
Yeah,
He's
horseradish
gone.
guy.
Yeah, I forgot to use pepper spray. You wanted to wash your hand, your eye out. Okay, so let's keep things rolling. I want to teach you a little bit about knife sharpening. Okay, go wash your eye out. We got one down.
Man down.
Man down. It didn't help. It just made it worse.
We're leaving it behind.
So, let's take a knife here. Now, I just need to wash this up, buddy. Bam, behind you. Don't move.
I'll just give you another look at this venison here. You can hear it sizzling away there.
And again, all I want to do is flip it because I feel like it's either going to be burnt or it's going to be.
Actually, you know what, man? Now you can probably flip it now. It's probably been long enough. Let's use that pair of tongs right there.
Keep in mind
Just
that as
gently.
that peppercorn is down there,
Just roll it over.
it's toasting all those peppercorns. Oh yeah.
That's money, folks.
Look at that.
Okay, so here's a little bit, while that cooks, here's a little bit of a knife tutorial. So, Frustrating. The biggest thing about using a knife, and the most dangerous thing, is using a dull knife. A dull knife will cut you almost every time. Because what it's doing is that edge is rolling off the food instead of slicing through it. Hold right there. Yes, Megan?
So we had Justin say he needs beer for his wife so she can go hunting for the first time.
Oh, nice.
And he had originally tried to get the binoculars for his little girl so she could go hunting for the first time.
Oh, nice. Justin, you're a good man.
And since your wife is talking to you, I feel like you should give it to him since
Okay.
we need to get women hunting.
We need to get women hunting. Yes, yes, we do. Yeah, Meg.
And then Jeremiah said, off the cooking subject, do the schools in Canada offer archery in schools to get the youth involved?
I would say, not that I know of, you did in public school?
Yeah, in high school.
In high school. So archery is available at the public school level. And as far as Justin, thank you. Justin, yes, that Bowtech $50 gift card, that's yours, buddy.
Just be careful when your kids come home from school in Canada, because my girlfriend, she did it. The first time I showed the bow, she's like, "You're holding your hand wrong. You actually need to go like this." So
Which he was.
Yeah, which you was. Okay, back to knife sharpening. So you'll refer to this always as a sharpening steel. It's actually a honing steel. It ultimately does sharpen the knife, but what it does is it takes an edge and your knife, and which slightly bends one way or the other. The leading edge of the knife is so fine and so thin. When it gets dull, it starts to move one way or the other. And what this does is it brings that back. Now, if you've got one of these and you want to practice, if you've got a matchbook, it took me a long time to find one. Nobody uses matches anymore. But the matchbook is the perfect angle at which to sharpen your knife. So if you can imagine me passing this over the edge, that is the perfect angle. So you can imagine that each time in order to be able to sharpen it. Now, if you want to practice at home, it's got a guard so you can pass it towards yourself like this, or you can put it on top of the board and literally go like this, and don't do it too fast. Literally just run the knife down, and then if you want to check the knife's edge, don't run your finger this way, run it just across, and oh my goodness, that has a nice bite already. It's nice and sharp all the way down the edge. Now listen, I'm going to tell you something. Next week, I'm going to do a more in-depth knife sharpening tutorial in which I'm going to use a whetstone. So a whetstone, when the honing steel won't get the job done, what you're going to want to do is put it on a whetstone. So get out your axes, get out your buck knives, get out your kitchen knives, because I'm going to teach you how to do it. It's easy. You can do it yourself whenever you need to put a new edge on your knife. So how are we doing? That's cooking beautifully. We got our side. We're rocking there. Where's the recipe? I can double check the recipe. There it is right there. So this smells, did you put salt and pepper in this?
no.
Okay. So salt and pepper in there. And then, so we're going to put lemon in. So the thing about lemon is lemon really has two really key important components. The yellow on the outside is the zest. The zest is where, like if you got a lemon oil, the lemon oil comes from that zest on the outside. It's where if you take a lemon and rub it in your hand, oh my God, it smells incredible. It's because that's where all that beautiful fragrance is. So there's a couple things I want to do this. I want that fragrance, which is when we go back to the zester.
This again.
And that also wants some of the acidity. So we're going to use some of the juice and some of the zest. I'll move you over here, put you to work. Thank you, son. Now, do we have any questions while we're just wrapping this up here?
What knives do you use?
So I use Zwilling. Zwilling is it's actually the oldest corporation in the world. Good German steel, hard as nails, and the beautiful thing about it is that if you buy, listen, you can buy inexpensive knives, and I promise you, you'll be buying them again and again and again your whole life. A good knife like this chef's knife, this is 8-inch, I believe, or 9-inch. A good chef's knife like this, you'll buy it once, you'll have it forever, and then you can pass it on to your kids. Because you buy it once, it's refined steel, it's nice and thin. The best part is, just like my Reign 7, if you have the right tools, believe me, the job is so much easier. The let off on that bow, the accuracy, my ability as a first-time hunter to be able to use that and get the results I needed. This whitetail was at about 22 yards. We were up in a tree stand. He came right in. We watched him, trail cams. Everything just worked just the way it was supposed to. But it's having the right tools is really critical.
Juice too?
Yeah, so juice too. So wait, tell them what you're doing.
Yeah, so two things actually. If you're using the microplane, which is what this thing is called, you don't really want any of this white stuff in there. So a good technique.
The white is called the pith.
The pith.
The pith is bitter. P-I-T-C-H.
So what you do is almost like you're rolling it down. As you come down, just roll it, and that gets it all the way up, and you can just circle the lemon around. You don't get any of that pith. But when you want the juice, all you got to do is set it on the board. And if you just go like this and roll it, it kind of breaks down the stuff that's inside and really loosens all the juice inside. So you're not sitting there squeezing as hard as you can. It just literally just...
So give it a good roll, loosens up all those cells, and allows you to juice it out.
And all you got to do is just put your hand over here like this to catch the seeds. You don't need a strainer or anything like that. Just because you want that pulp to get in there, just squeeze it over your hand.
Okay, so that has to go in there.
So make sure you don't have any cuts.
Yeah, and this
that sucks.
We're going to use our good friends at Kintor made this. Look, are you looking at this? This is the best part of being the chef, man. You get pieces of wood like this. This is awesome.
That's my favorite board because my nickname's Sasquatch, and I think that looks like a giant,
Put about half
giant
in.
foot.
Put about half in. Perfect. Okay, give that a really good stir, bang.
And when it comes to knives, also, you don't need to buy 10, 12, 15 knives. All you need in the kitchen is a chef's knife, a serrated knife, a bread knife. So you can see here, this is a scalpel edge knife. As you know, it is a bread knife, or you use it for soft vegetables.
I use it for bagels.
And bagels, and then a paring knife. And then you can do any job you need to do in the kitchen, just with those three knives.
I'm going to get you to move this. And I need those shallots to finish up the sauce.
Okay.
I'm going to take those. Now, he did 2 shallots. One of them I'm just going to put in the side of the pan here. Because remember, every time we saute, we develop flavor in the pan. Now, I'm not going to leave that flavor in there. I'm going to see what I can get off the bottom. I'm going to show you what I'll get. Move that out of the way. Then we'll get this set up for plating. So just to review, this is the backstrap or the loin of the white-tailed deer. And of course, white-tailed deer are kind of a beautiful story here in North America. There's that loin. So it's what you get, and some of these things. Let's talk a little bit about what we have coming up. So we've got some outdoor sessions coming up where we'll be roasting. I kept one leg whole, so we'll be roasting that leg whole. We've got the ribs. We kept the meat on because we're going to show you how you can do a beautiful kind of a spare rib. And let's have a look at this now. I think this is ready to come out. There's a couple ways I can test. Now I can use an instant read probe thermometer, and I'm just going to turn this over a little bit. Nice browning all the way around. Or I can just kind of feel it. I feel it's still kind of spongy, so we're going to keep roasting that away. And we'll be finishing this up shortly. So let's get some of our beautiful mushrooms out here. You know, part of the great thing of working with any food, presentation is a big part of it. So we want to make sure that it looks really beautiful.
It's also nice to put all your food on one big platter so you can just carry it right up to the table for the family. Especially with a family as big as ours. We actually had to buy 2 dinner tables and put them together so that we could have one long dinner table so everyone could sit together.
So we got some beautiful mushrooms there. And I don't want to jump ahead. One of the key things finish putting those on there for me, Ben. One of the things that you have to do when you work on proteins like this beautiful backstrap is you have to make sure that to rest it. And you have to rest it off the heat. So we're going to pull this off. So you can see I added those shallots. Now I'm just going to take this coat. I want to make sure I'm going to finish this just to medium. I don't want to overcook this in any way. That's one of the benefits of cooking the inside ahead of time. Literally going to just watch yourself there. I'm going to move this over. I'm literally going to sit it on the board. I'm just going to let it rest there for a minute. Now let's have a look at this pan. So I've got the white wine again. Let's see what we can get off the bottom of this pan. So white wine on, and you can throw the heat on. So we reduce it, and the key is just to give it a little bit of a scrape. Pick up anything that's developed on the bottom. And then that, when I serve it, this will be called a beautiful sauce. So this is what you've probably heard referred to as a pan jus or a pan juice. Just very simply the rendered juice from a beautiful cut like that backstrap. So I'll let that reduce just slightly, almost completely. And then the very next step for us here is just as this is resting, we just want to take off
The string.
the string.
Yes, Megan.
You got a question?
We just had Jeremiah who said he had to leave because there's tornado warnings in Kentucky, so he had to.
Okay, well,
Stay.
be safe in Kentucky, and let's get be safe in Kentucky. My goodness, tornado warnings. Get underground. Let us know how you make out there, buddy. Thanks for watching, Jeremiah. I really appreciate you watching. I think Jeremiah has been with us now for 3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks straight.
So I'm just going to gently take this off. Actually, Bae, can I get to do this properly? What you need is you need a pair of scissors. So I'm just going to grab some scissors. I don't want to rush this. So literally just take and snip and snip just like this.
You can hear that pan sizzling way over here.
Yeah, and it opens right up just like that. And then literally we'll just take and roll that off and just set that. Just pull all of these strings off. So double check and make sure you get all of the strings off. You can see the nice thing about the way the protein shapes up. Any protein like this is going to kind of hold its shape and firm up for you. So that's why we tie it. The other reason that we always tie it is to make sure that we get uniform cooking. So I'm going to just take this and we're going to get the slicing knife out. Check our edge there. It's nice and sharp. Just take a quick, this is, you'll see chefs doing this all the time. It's just again to bring up that edge, just to make sure it's good and sharp. Now, I would like to let this wait just a little bit longer, but I see we've gone for quite a long time now. So I'm going to take, let's slice this up here, Code. Have a look at what we've got going on inside. Oh, look at that beautiful pink. And I'm going to do about 1-inch slices.
Right around where the strings were tied, like you said earlier, it's great for portioning if you tie it up like we did. It's almost like you got preset measurements of where to cut.
So then what I would do is I would take and I would literally put this on the board and I would turn these around and serve this just like this. So you have a got a perfect rare inside and a beautiful, beautiful stuffing on the inside. So with a cut like loin, you want to make sure that you don't overcook it. Now, keep in mind that if you want well done, by all means, cook it to 150 degrees, but just make sure to rest it. Make sure you keep that stuffing nice and moist so that it does look really beautiful. Garnish with some of the other fresh ingredients. And then what I've got here is the pan sauce. And what I'll do, Bae, is just literally, when this goes out to the table, literally just take this beautiful pan, and I'm just going to come up here. I just want you to look at the color. Can you see that?
Yep.
Look at the color of that. That is going to do a couple things. So it's like gravy, but what it is it's more flavor, and more importantly, it's hot. So if I put this on as it goes out, what's going to happen is that it will keep the meat warm, especially if it's been sliced, and it's going to add a bit more flavor. Those shallots, they smell incredible. And remember, I deglaze this with that wine. So what's going to happen is, again, flavor. We want levels of flavor every time we're cooking. We want to make wild game as palatable as possible. Now listen, I got to tell you something. I gotta thank just a couple people before we go away. Grab that big board right there. So, where would we be without our nanas? Our nana, are you kidding? Look what she does for us. This is to get us through the warm-up and after the show. This is her banana bread. This is an incredible secret recipe. I don't think she's ever going to let me share it, just to let you know. We'll share it soon. But thank you, Nana, for bringing banana bread always. And thanks to all of you for joining us. If you do us a favor and share this with your friends, with hunters and anglers, keep in mind the Outdoor Chef is all about making everything from foraging to fishing and hunting. And yes, Cindy.
Wayne says, great show. I'm hooked and looking forward to my first hunt with the carbon icon.
Oh, Wayne. All right,
Enjoy
buddy.
it.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to anything that you're doing in the outdoors, tag us in it.
Let
We
us
want to
know.
see it
Yep.
because the community and the brotherhood and sisterhood of the outdoors is like a community like I've never ever been a part of.
We feel at home.
We feel at home. We're so grateful for it. We thank you for watching. Now, don't miss our good buddy Randy Newberg coming up. And I'm saying good buddy. I've never met Randy, but I feel like I know him, and I hope he takes me elk hunting one day. But don't miss our good buddy Randy Newberg coming up at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. He's a brilliant teacher, knows so much about public lands, and he can answer a ton of questions. Put your questions together for next week. Cindy, yes?
Just a lot of shout-outs saying they love the show, and
Awesome.
a lot of shout-outs to Nanas
We're
out
glad.
there.
Nanas, yeah. Nanas, aunties, grannies, they make us all love being in the kitchen. Yeah.
I want to say one more thing, and it's actually what I've done. As Dad said at the beginning of the show, I'm learning as we do this stuff. What I did is I went out and I got a little notebook, and I went back and watched all the shows, all the little tips, all the little recipes, all the different words. You just write down the descriptions, and I guarantee you already after 3 weeks, I've got like 4 pages. And at the end of, say, 6 months, you'll have a book that'll be almost like your personal cookbook, and you'll be able to cook for the people who come over to your house full of wild game recipes like you wouldn't believe.
And
try that and you'll see the results.
And I know what we're going to do eventually is we're going to have a cook-off here.
Yeah.
We're going to have a cook-off, so all you guys better be taking notes. We're going to cook off, and you guys are going to cook off too.
And you'll have to judge us.
You'll have to judge us, and you'll send us in all your dishes as well. So be sure to...
send us your dishes, absolutely. So a couple quick housekeeping things. Our 2 shows are The Outdoor Chef and Fearless Outdoors. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. And check us out. We're on My Outdoor TV. So when you go to My Outdoor TV, if you haven't been there yet, please use the promo code Collins. That's our last name. Use the promo code Collins and you'll have that first month free, right?
Yeah.
Oh no, for 99
99
cents.
cents, yep.
Yeah. We'd love to hear from you. Keep adding comments down below. Ask us questions. We'll get to everyone. And until next week,
Thank you for watching.
thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we'll see you next week. And as Coach shutting this stream off, I want to tell you, don't forget, 2 weeks from now, Bear Camp. Be there. It's going to be awesome. Oh yeah, let's get dinner.
Yeah.
This is perfect. We made this. Now we can eat this while we watch Randy.
Yeah.